another live video. Today is Monday, and I've been doing some mindset shifts on Monday. Today, we're going to be talking about mindset. Now, if you are good vibers, and I know that you've already subscribed, and that's amazing, and it's awesome to have you, fam, but yeah, I realized that there's a lot with leadership, and I just love learning about leadership. I love seeing leaders that inspire me, and I do believe that we are all leaders to our own caliber and for the gifts that we have been given to lead along those lines. So we're going to be talking about leadership today in hopes that it will kind of flow throughout the rest of the week and everything else and be good. Also, no comment on my makeup today, all right? I know I look like a clown. That may have been the purpose, all right? So just so you know, okay? Just so you know. So, yeah, this is going to be kind of a quick live. What's good, Donovan? Good to see you here, fam. And really just wanted to take a moment to explore leadership with you. Growing up, as some of you may know, I was homeschooled, and the form of interaction I got with other humans actually began when I joined the auxiliary of the Air Force at the age 12, and that was really a big part of my life for a very long time, for over 8 years. So I learned a lot about leadership through that, being a drill sergeant, a flight sergeant, an officer in charge, the deputy cadet commander. I learned a lot about leadership, and I was able to, share and present and, have conferences where I'd share about leadership, learn about it. It was like a really big thing that I'm thankful was a part of, my development growing up. And I've seen a lot of leaders, I guess, in my life. I think we all have. And we've seen good and we've seen bad leaders. So why don't we just explore that concept a little bit more? And what's good, peace? What's good, the Sir Spirit? Meditative juice? Peace and much love. And yes, I think I'm just going to ask you the question, like, what makes a good leader? What makes a bad leader? What experiences have you had with leadership? I believe that if you're watching this, then you're meant to lead to some extent, in some way, here in your lifetime. And that's awesome and a wonderful, a beautiful thing, like it's a gift. But it comes with a lot of responsibility, With the great power comes great responsibility. What's good, Uncle Ben? But yeah, for real, it's true. And with that being said, much love, Oscar. I hope I pronounced your name right, but much love. I think it's really important that you realize how just impactful you already are. Like, you've probably impacted people and led them in such a way already. And I'll give an example from my own life where I didn't even realize I was leading. So I've also been a swim instructor for over 14 years. And when I was really young, I remember teaching kids how to swim, and it was great, right? There were 24 kids and one of me, and I just had to make sure none of them drowned and that they could swim enough to move on. And I didn't really remember much of the interactions I had with the kids just because there were so many of them at the time. But it wasn't until 5 years later that I saw this kid that I had taught, and he was on a swim team and he was doing really good. I'm not going to take credit for that, but I'll take a little bit of credit for that. I'll take a little bit of credit for that, okay? I'll take a little bit, okay? All right. I'll just take a little. No, that was all on him for doing the work, right? And I remember this kid, I saw him and I was like, whoa, he's doing it. And oddly, I felt a little sense of pride for the progress he made. And I, never really had much of a thought until I remember being at the library once, and I remember there was somebody looking at me through the window, and it was this little kid. And this kid, he was a little bit older now, but he was still pretty young, and he said, do you remember me? Do you remember teaching me how to swim? And he was like, thanks to you, I'm on the swim team. I'm on one of the best travel teams in the town. And I was like, that is so awesome. I didn't do that, though. You did that. You were the one that did the work. It was a pleasure working with you. It was a pleasure being able to lead you to the point where you could lead yourself. And what was cool about this kid, and I remember teaching them, is that they inspired other kids around them to swim. There were 24 kids and one of me. I couldn't teach them all in the half hour I had. That was like 1.5 minutes, not even per kid. So when you have a good follower, they create a good leader, if that makes sense. And that child, we'll call them G because they're the real G, really was they were a good follower, and because of that they were a good leader. They led the other kids. I couldn't handle all the kids, but because they were so eager and they listened to what I said, hey, you're gonna swim here, make sure that you put your head in the water, make sure that it's all the axis and stuff. They did it, and they inspired other kids to do the same thing. The kids would look at him and they'd be like, oh wow, okay, he did it, I can do it too. And then that made my life so much easier. And now this kid, no doubt about it, is probably gonna be captain on the swim team. I mean, I've seen them swim, they're doing awesome, and it's so weird to think about that kind of domino effect. But going back to that idea, leadership is really what you call a copycat. Okay, that's interesting. This is legacy. I'm gonna need you to explain more about that copycat idea, because I would love to hear it. What's good, Cosmic Being? JT, it's good to see you. And yeah, I agree, Astral Intels, because I look like a clown right now, but I did it because I wanted to, I did it because I wanted to. Aw, thank you for the super chat. That's the first time I've ever had a super chat, so I appreciate it. But, JT, you're the best. Fam, you're the best. But for real, in my heart, I didn't realize the connection that a good follower has with a good leader. And this is something that I'm still learning. In the Civil Air Patrol, when I was in the Auxiliary of the Air Force, right? They would drill with you. I remember they would drill this idea of servant leadership. And when I was a medical officer in charge during my time when I was serving at the encampment or the boot camp, I remember how important this concept was. The leaders that were leading it, right, there would be around 150 cadets from all around the state that would come to this Air Force base for the span of a week to 10 days, and they would wake up every morning around 4:30. They would run around 2 miles, and they do the jodies, the exercise, the drills. They'd have to be in their uniforms, all of the customs and courtesies that are a part of military, just regular standards and procedures. So it was awesome, and I learned a lot about servant leadership. All of the cadets there were learning how to lead by looking at what their leaders were doing. The cadets that were actually following the rules or following what the leader was saying, and not in a suck-up teacher pets way, but actually seeing hey, this is what we got to do. And I remember when I was a cadet and it was, we were getting drilled, it was rough. I remember there were 2 other females in my flight of 15, and one of them was constantly just at the medical facility because I don't think she really wanted to be there, and she had plenty of excuses to get hurt and not be there. And it is a bit difficult when you have somebody that doesn't want to lead. And it's even more difficult when you have somebody that wants to lead everyone, but isn't actually the leader. And so these people, and we have plenty of examples, I'm sure, are ignoring what the actual instructions are or the idea of who a leader really is. A leader is supposed to lead from the back, okay? They lead by example, and then they tell their followers to show the way, and that they'll make sure that the back is covered and that nobody is left behind. So looking back, people that were younger than me looked up to me, but I never looked at me as a leader, been like that. Yeah, what's good? And that's exactly it. The essence of leadership, it doesn't come from being in the front saying, look at me, it's so cool, everything, it's definitely follow me, guys, follow me. Listen, I think we all know a leader that is just the kind of follow me, guys, follow me, and pushing and trying to force people to follow them and using this kind of sense of authority that they may have, but it doesn't really work, right? It doesn't really work. You look at them and you're like, okay, why do you have to convince me to follow? Like, I don't really want to follow. And then they use their authority, and this could be really anyone who has authority. This could be a teacher. For me, this was, my higher ups, my sergeants, my officers in charge. At the time, and they would really flaunt the badge of authority, right? They would be like, you gotta follow me because that's what the pips say, right? You gotta follow me because that's my rank. And of course, respect to the chain of command and all of that stuff, but also when it comes to human beings and when you're just living your life, you can't just command somebody to give you respect and to follow you. No, if you know anybody who's done that, you're kind of like, why are you asking me this? That's not how it goes. A leader's purpose is to bring the group together and to lead them to the direction of the goal that the whole group is there to achieve. The leader's goal is not to be in the front, and of course, it is the face of the team, it's the face of the group, it's the face of the group if things go good, and it's the face of the group if things go bad. A bad leader may take this idea of, oh my gosh, Isaiah, so much love. They may take this idea of blaming others if things go bad, right? A bad leader would be like, the reason why we did not achieve it is because you. And that is not true. That is not true at all. A good leader does not blame their teammates, the people that they're there to lead, on the team's, success or failure. That's on them. And so when you realize that when you are a leader, you have extra responsibility if things go good or bad. And when you're a leader, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to automatically listen to you because you've given yourself that authority. The best way to allow people and your team and the group that you're leading to really be led by you is to listen to them, to listen to each person in your team and know that each person is there to lead a certain aspect. So when you're leading in a group, you have to understand that each person is their own leader in a way and can assist in the group being led to that goal. And your job is to find those strengths in each individual and highlight it. What's good, Bishing Jean? Good to see you. Good to be back. And much love, Oksar, for coming through. With that being said, you are a leader. You're a leader. And you don't have to command any sense of authority from anyone to prove that you are a leader. All that you have to do, quite literally, is just be aware that there are people that want to be led. And they don't want you to direct them in any way. They just want to know, hey, I want clarity on what I should do and where I should go. And we're all here to help lead one another. My goodness. Again, I've seen so many leaders and so much love, Meditative Juice. Aw. It's like a lot of people look up to you, but you never know. You never know. You never know who you're actually leading. Exactly, James. You gotta lead by example. I did not know that, G from the beginning, when I was teaching swimming, would even remember me or remember my face or remember the interactions that we had. But I really appreciate that they took that time to better themselves and to show it to others and to lead others. That is the purest form of a good leader, is a good follower, because they're able to follow through with other people, they're able to connect, and they're able to let go of their ego so that they can actually listen to what other people need from them and to fulfill that. So I believe that you're all leaders, you all have a mission here, and you know that this purpose is higher than you. And when it comes now to leading yourself, here's what I've learned. You can't, just like with other people, you can't force yourself to do certain things. You can't be like, oh, okay, let me just lead myself. You can't be hard on yourself, if that makes sense. When you're leading yourself, which is where all of the leadership really goes, you can't really just force yourself to be like, this is how it's gonna be because I'm the leader now, I'm the captain now. No, no, that's gonna be a revolt. When you lead, there are two ways that you can lead. You can lead with authority or respect. When you lead with authority, you allow yourself to kind of take all of that ego, all of the, the ranks that you have. If you're an officer in charge, if you have, if you can flaunt your authority in any way, there are leaders that literally depend on their authority, their status, in order for people to listen to them. Government. I'm sure we all know a couple, okay? But it's really important to be aware that most likely than not, that's not going to be an effective form of leadership. If you have to flaunt or remind people that you have a higher authority than them, then something's wrong already, okay? There's something that you are missing, and that's the idea of respect, of understanding that we are all technically still on the same playing field, we're still on the same level, we're still all human beings, and sure, some of us may have higher, status or authority than others, but when it all comes down to it, we're all still human. And if you don't give the people that you're leading the respect they deserve, then they're not going to give you the respect you deserve. And you're not going to have any authority to lead them. Sure, they may listen to your commands. They may do what you tell them to do. But deep within them, they're going to be resentful towards you because they don't want to do it. They don't like you if you're flaunting that you have, an extra pip and you have this authority over them. They're just not going to listen to you. And we probably all know somebody at some point in our life who has done this. Maybe it's a manager, maybe it's, a higher up of authority that tends to use their authority, and it's a really bad sign if any leader has to remind their followers of their authority. Really bad sign. A good leader should respect their followers so much that their followers remind them and the other followers of their authority. That is a good leader, because you have literally, my dog, he's trying to get in, but it's okay. He's not gonna get in right now. Actually, all right, we'll let him in. Hello, Jedi. Oh, jeez, man. Okay. Feeling okay? Okay. All right, we let him in. What's good, Raymond? And thank you, Astral Intels. Now my dog is inside. He might have to go outside again, but we'll see. But for real, leadership is something that we do naturally as humans. And in any group dynamic you have, the leaders are going to just emerge naturally. It should never be a power struggle and understanding like, ooh, who's the leader? In fact, when I'm in a situation, I'll try to serve as much as I can, and I don't like to be like, I'm gonna be the leader of this group. No, because I know what that entails in terms of responsibility. And if I'm not ready to take responsibility, if the team fails, then I don't think I should be the leader. And I think that's something all people, wherever you are, whatever you're leading, should take account of. Are you willing to take responsibility for who you're leading? Because that's what you're gonna have to do as a good leader. It doesn't matter if you can't really control what your teammates are going to do, but you have to take responsibility because you're the one leading all of them to that end goal in that project. It's up to you to make sure that you all get to that vision together. And it can be a little frustrating when you are not leading people that want to be led. And this is what I call I don't even know what I would call these people. They're so convinced that they don't need a leader or that they should be the leader, and the power struggle is just something that causes them to not be led. And if you can't lead somebody, then they can't be leader. If you yourself can't be led, then you will not be a good leader, because you need to be able to have both sides of the coin. And so this goes back to this idea of servant leadership, which is my favorite concept in leadership. And it's really, really beautiful, because servant leadership is understanding that you as a leader are there to lead from the back. You are there to serve all of your teammates in order to achieve that goal. You are not there to tell every single, that whole service to self. You're not there to tell each teammate what you want done. And in a way, yes, but it's not like massage my feet, No, you're there to massage their feet so they can get up and walk and get to the goal that you have put in front of the team. So being a teacher is also being a good student. Yes, reminds me of that. Yes, good teachers are good students. Good teachers learn from their students, right? Like, they learn from their students. They're actively engaged in understanding how they can serve their students better. Bad teachers are, I find that they tend to blame the student a lot for not learning the material. Yeah, and that's just, again, this idea of service to self and service to others. A good leader knows that there's no space for anything other than service to others. They're there to serve other people. Like, all the people in authority, technically speaking, even the government is there to technically serve us. Technically speaking, that's what it's there for. And we are here, I think, as humans, and we learn, like, when you think of maybe like your favorite leader, you notice how much value they provide and how they serve other people first. I don't think there's a single leader that I can think of that serves themselves and is put good in the books, okay? No, like, that's like a tyrant, and I don't think people really like tyrants or want to listen to them because it's not an effective form of leadership. It ends up with the group revolting and ultimately the goal never being set because it wasn't agreed upon. So learning from the people you're around and seeing how you can serve them is the best way to develop your leadership. Understanding that each person needs to be led in some way as much as you need to be led in some way. I am really looking to be led in certain ways, and I'm so thankful that I have friends that can help me with both ways. They are amazing followers, and they help me see, where my strengths in leadership are by how they follow what we, the vision is and how we get there, but also amazing leaders in terms of actually assisting me in understanding, how I can follow through with the goal and the mission, if this makes sense, the vision. So a good leader is a good follower. And a good leader knows where to listen to his followers, to listen to their followers, and to follow through with it. You all are, I'm just gonna say it, you all are good leaders, but we can always improve. We always have to acknowledge the ego within us, because it's real. We all have the ego, and sometimes if we don't keep it in check, we can think that we're the most important person in the world and that everybody has to listen to our ideas because it's the best, and that's just not it. Even when you're leading, you have to understand that your vision of the goal might not necessarily be what's resonating with the whole group's vision, and that's really important. I'm learning a lot with working with other people and doing tons of partnerships that you have to be okay with being wrong and understanding that it's not personal when somebody says, hey, you're wrong, or I don't think that's the goal that we want to go. You have to be open with asking questions like, okay, what does a right thing look like to you? Okay, how can we pivot to go in the right direction? And asking the questions and keeping your eyes on the prize, okay? As a good leader, you're not focused on yourself and the glory and the fame. You're focused on getting yourself and the team to that destination and that goal. And the only thing you should think about is how can we get to that goal? It's not about you. It's not about the praise again. It's not about even saying my idea is the best idea, because it might not be. So, where are we being led? James, that's a wonderful question. We are being led into a time where community, understanding the people around you, and understanding how you can serve one another is top priority. You all have gifts, and I already know you do, and they are all unique to you, and I really want to be able to assist in any way I can to see them come through into the world and to share that impact that is within your soul with other people. I'm not really sure what this looks like, and there are 4 stages to leadership when it comes in a group and a team and how that goes. First, it's all jumbly, wumbly. It's all about, everybody's around. Nobody know who the leader is. You're just kind of like vibing, all right? You're just vibing. You're just like, all right, not sure where we're going with this, but we're all here. And then we go on to the more refining stage where we define the goal. Okay, what are we doing? Okay, who's gonna do what tasks? Really defining where we are at. Okay, and again, like, I'm sharing these 4 stages of leadership from my memory that I can remember that can be applied to a team, but also to your own internal metrics. And then once you define like what tasks need to be done and what the goal is, it's a lot easier to start strategizing. Okay, when you strategize, you tell people like, okay, you're good at this, why don't you do this? And you listen. It's so important to listen when you're strategizing and setting that goal vision, because you want to make sure you're only one person. Okay, you only have one perspective. I only have one perspective. I can only see things and I only know so much. I don't know what you know. And that's so important to understand when you're leading a team, that you all need to come together so that you can have that big picture and you can see, what are you trying to create? What does that goal look like? How can we get there? Every single person has strengths and weaknesses, and one of our weaknesses is our blind spots. We don't know everything. We can't see everything. We can't take an account of everything. So the more people you have, in a way, can be a strength in understanding how you can create this more holistic approach and strategy to accomplishing your goals. And lastly is execution. When you execute, you are clear, okay? The leader is just there to make sure each person stays on task and does what they said that they're gonna do. Execute the mission so that you can get to that end goal. And that is what we are all doing all the time on so many different levels, and it's a blessing. So really, really, truly, I just made this video to remind you that you are a leader and that being led is as important as leading, okay? So when you look up to your like most favorite leaders, think about how you can become a better follower, because it will make you a better leader. If you understand what a good follower looks like, you'll be able to help your followers become a better follower and also kind of let them lead the way, okay? I hope that makes sense, and I really hope that you found some value from this live and this video. Thank you so much for just tuning in and sharing your time, energy, and just your beautiful self and sharing and vibing. Suyuki, I hope I said your name right. I love you, fam, and I'm happy that you could come through. But for real, you're a leader, okay? It's time to go lead whatever comes your way. Whatever it is, fam, know that you are equipped. Practice following, being aware that being a follower does not mean you're less than a leader. In fact, it should be the other way around. The leader should put the follower at the top, because that way you'll actually get a really good team that listens and respects and just loves each other and is focused on that vision and that mission. So I just love you, I appreciate you, and I thank you for taking this time to tap in and tune in, and woo! Thank you again, I appreciate you, and yeah, go out and now lead, okay? Lead, okay? Lead your life, lead everything that comes your way by understanding all you got to do is listen. All you got to do is be open and see how you can serve, and you'll naturally be in that position to lead more. So thank you again for tuning in. I hope that you found this useful, and I'll see you in the next video. Namaste. God bless. And thank you for the super chats, by the way, Meditative Juice, Isaiah, and JT. I appreciate you. And I will see you in the next video.